Yes.
Yes.
It's finally
Time.
for Meshuggah
Meshuggah
video. Welcome to Daily Metal, where every day a different metal album gets dissected for your sadistic listening pleasure. I'm the heavy metal lawyer Emma, and in this show I'll talk about why the music in these albums is so good and where they fall in the history of music's most wretched genre. On August 6, 2002, formerly thrash metal band Meshuggah embraced groove metal and polyrhythms with their album Nothing. Meshuggah is a band that generates very polarizing opinions due to the unique style of metal they play called djent, named after the guitarist onomatopoeia of the down-tuned, palm-muted tone that characterizes the style. Other key elements of the style are guitars with absurd numbers of strings. Meshuggah's in this album had 8 strings, and polyrhythms, which I'm going to focus on in this video. It was really only very recently that I began to appreciate Meshuggah's music, specifically due to my reading of this book, which I brought up before, African Rhythm and African Sensibility by John Miller Chernoff. One of the focuses of the book is to render the polyrhythms in West African drumming music comprehensible to a Western audience, where drums typically function as an ornate metronome, keeping time for the rest of the band. That did change somewhat with rock music, and especially with extreme metal like black metal and grindcore, where drums were also used to create a Phil Spector type wall of sound to provide an atmosphere as well as the rhythm for the rest of the instruments. West African drum music is different because rather than one rhythm followed by the whole band, the music is polyrhythmic, with different drums playing in different rhythms. The music in Nothing is the same way. Even a lot of very experienced musicians and drummers listening to Meshuggah for the first time have a hard time discerning what the drums are actually playing. With Western sensibilities, our ears are attuned to listen for a single rhythm. So we process the multiple different rhythms of the different instruments as one rhythm and quickly get lost or try to write it out as some very complex time signature. But the reality is that almost all Meshuggah songs are in common time signatures, like 4/4. Take the band's breakout track of the album, Rational Gaze, which is in 4/4 time signature, but it sounds off or even like a different time signature to a new listener due to the polyrhythms and resulting syncopation. So let's treat the time signature like it were 16/16, breaking it down into 16th notes, so 16 notes per measure, and see if that helps. If you break it down, the first measure has the guitar stressing beats 1, 2, 7, 8, 11, 12, and 14. And the drums stressing beats 1, 5, 9, and 13, specifically by using a crash cymbal for the first beat and Chinese cymbals for the 1st, 5th, 9th, and 13th beats. You have an interesting difference here between West African polyrhythm and Meshuggah's, with the West African polyrhythm generally having the final beat as a unified beat, where all of the drums play that beat together and stress it together. And Meshuggah has the first beat being unified, with both it being stressed by the guitar and by the drums. But a big similarity between the two is that the polyrhythm serves to create a call and response type effect with the rhythm of the music. The guitar stressing beat 2 is responded to by the drum stressing beat 5, which is responded to by the guitar stressing beat 7 and 8, which is responded to by the drums stressing beat 9, which is responded to by the guitar stressing beats 11 and 12, which is responded to by the drums stressing beat 13, And finally, the guitar caps it off by stressing beat 14. Hopefully you're still with me. Let's do one more example to show where Meshuggah gets really complicated. Next measure, the guitar is stressing beats 1, 2, 5, 6, 10, 11, and 16. And the drums are stressing 1, 5, 9, and 13. Now, the instruments are in sync for the first half of the measure, but go out of sync in the second half of the measure. The drum's stress beats have not changed, but the guitars did, and thus syncopation. Because if the drums and guitars had maintained stressing the same beats as they did in the first measure for the whole intro, it could be processed as one rhythm for the song, with the guitar simply playing syncopated with that one rhythm of the song. I'm sure you can guess what happens in the third measure. The drum stress beats remain the same again, but the guitar stress beats change again. The drums in Nothing serve the same role as the bell and rattle in Ewe drumming in West Africa, maintaining a constant stressing of certain beats, whereas the guitar are more like the atsimiru in Ewe drumming, the master drum which leads the music. Anyway, I don't normally get this much into music theory of the music I talk about on this channel. In fact, I usually like to focus on history around the music. But, at least for me, understanding more about what polyrhythm is and how it works helped me to understand what I was listening to. And yeah, now I'm a degen head. I mean, not really, but I do really like this album now. So, do you groove to the polyrhythms of Degent, or do you get lost with them? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you like this video, please subscribe so you can find out what the metal album of the day is, why it is so brutal, and where it fits in the history of the genre.